All right, what's up guys? Gruzbee here and welcome back to the channel. So there's been a lot of games that I have really wanted to cover here on the channel, and I finally had the time to sit down and start dusting off some of them. And one in particular that I'm very excited for is the First Descendant. I was really fortunate to be able to get in on the crossplay beta that happened last September, and was even able to do a live stream, which you can see by clicking the link in the top of the video here, or by finding the one in the description. Before we get started though, there's something that I need you guys to do. I need you to head down to the comments and let me know which character in the First Descendant is your favorite from the open beta. I can tell you right now that even though I'm all about those Catgirls, Bunny definitely did put a smile on my face. So we got a dev note here from almost 2 weeks ago, and I'm sure by this point a lot of creators on the platform have covered this, but I still want to toss my thoughts in there because give me them views. Jumping over to the official page here, we've got a pretty hefty post, so let's just dive into it. So this was posted on February 5th, and it is Dev Note Volume 7. Greetings, Descendants. This is the First Descendant dev team. We started our first dev note early last year with an update from the First Descendant dev team, and we thought we'd get this year off to a strong start like last year with varied news on what's going on with the First Descendant development. This dev note is based on highlights from recent media interviews with producer Lee Byung-jung and director Min-seok Ju. I really hope that I pronounced that correctly. It seems to provide a behind-the-scenes look at what the dev team is going through while we work on the project. So, how the dev team has been doing. The crossplay open beta test was amazing, but it left us with a lot of homework. So we chatted between ourselves saying, why is there such unrelieving feeling when that test went so well? We believe it is because the fact that so many people are excited for the First Descendant, and it made us feel even more accountable. As soon as the crossplay open beta test finished, we began planning for the game's launch based on the extensive feedback we received during the testing period. We worked hard to develop a plan for what we wanted to rectify and enhance before launching. We spent the rest of last year fleshing out the plan and beginning development. And before we could feel the end of the year holiday season, we were already in 2024. Man, I know exactly what that's like. Just as soon as you start getting things, squared away and all those ducks in a row, the next thing you know, the year is over and you already have to start planning for the next one. So from the cosplay open beta test to the Game Awards, actually, we didn't intend to make it an open test. While we were preparing for the test, there were suggestions that we test crossplay as well and get a lot of feedback. So we decided to switch to an open beta test. There was absolutely pressure when we made that decision, but we were so committed to apply the changes from the feedback, which resulted in a month-long delay in the testing schedule. Thankfully, the crossplay open beta test turned out better than we had anticipated, which was wonderful. As a result, we gave careful consideration to how we could use these results to inform future strategies. Similar to this, we considered when the right time is for the game's launch, including when it will be ready if we conduct internal testing and make decisions, and then develop it through user feedback, and when to announce about the launch period. As a result, for announcing the period, we decided that the Game Awards would be the ideal venue for doing so. Of course, the Game Awards included a ton of amazing games, but it was also really motivating for us. And we thought it might serve as a wonderful gift for all of the users who have been waiting for the First Descendant if we share the launch period with them on such a fantastic stage. So we chose the Game Awards as a means to commit ourselves to the launch period for our community. About the Game Awards trailer, the main trailer was made entirely by the dev team. We did use licensed music for dramatic effect, but other than the music, the directing team, sound team, and animation team in the studio put a lot of resources into and worked together to create the trailer. We can't seem to get the right feel when we collaborate with outside companies, so try to create everything with the dev team as much as possible. We have changed the vibe for the trailer this time to make it a bit more dramatic, like a movie trailer. I wish we could have been there at the Game Awards to watch it. So when in the summer of 2024? And this is, I think, the question that a lot of people are going to be asking, and there's probably going to be a lot of speculation about exactly when this game is going to launch. I'm hoping that the game launches when it's ready, you know, and not a moment sooner. But let's continue. Yes, the summer launch this year has been officially confirmed in the Game Awards trailer. However, we are currently finalizing the actual release date and our future plans, so please bear with us a little while longer. How are the 110,000 comments received from the crossplay open beta test being incorporated? We received a ton of feedback, but were able to clearly identify what needed to be done after reviewing everything. Among them were the story, as well as the problems with empty fields, a challenging environment for co-op, repetitive content, etc. Oh, and a lot of people requested to make the grappling hook better. So I just want to take a second here and address some of those things. Empty fields, I think I recall some areas in the game where it just seemed like we were just going and going and going, and there wasn't a whole lot happening. So yeah, I can definitely attest to big open concept, not a lot going on. Challenging environment for co-op. I'm not exactly sure where they're getting at with that, if it's just people want more hard, or if they're going to implement a, maybe people were saying that it was too easy. There was some things about the game that really did feel a little easy, and some things that actually felt like a true challenge. Repetitive content. Now, they didn't really give much context as to what they were talking about. Are they talking about we need more replayable content? Because I'm all for that. I'm all for grinding a game if, you know, I have something to grind for. But if we're talking about repetitive content for the sake of just, hey, you need to go out there and grind this thing 500 times so that you can get 10 possible drops of this thing, yeah, that's not going to fly. And as far as the grappling hook, I'm trying to remember how well it performed, and I really can't remember. I mean, I can't remember if it did well or if it did poorly. Whenever I think of grappling hook, I think of the one from Pal World, and that grappling hook definitely needs a little bit of tweaking. But I mean, hey, you know what? If enough people said that there was a problem with the grappling hook to make it better, absolutely. I think the fact that they're listening and they're taking notes on this is definitely a good thing. Let's continue. So the dev team was able to better prioritize the work that needed to be completed before the launch, thanks to these feedbacks, which also helped us identify the challenging but crucial issues. About 200 employees are currently working in various roles in preparation for the launch. The teams are working on several small to big issues simultaneously, and we are extremely focused on ensuring that it all comes together in one piece. We've been working on dubbing the recently revised lore. That's interesting. They actually revised the lore. That's kind of cool. Talking about a big job there. I wonder how much work that entailed, which is going through significant changes as a result of the feedback we received during the crossplay open beta test. You know, it's funny because the crossplay open beta test was just to test the crossplay, and as a result, they got back all of this crucial feedback on the game, and I'm just kind of like, wow, did the stars just align in the right way? Would this have happened if this had been done any other way? I mean, I don't know. I'm really fascinated by this. A small spoiler alert: Descendants will work with the main character to complete objectives and make significant appearances as NPCs in the main story. Additionally, we're developing original storylines for Descendants to give them more character and narrative depth. Oh, yes, please. If there's one thing that I'm not a lore channel. I've never really considered myself a lore channel, but you know, just having that to fall back on so that I can add it as a little bit of flavoring to some future videos. Yeah. Oh yeah. I could see. I can taste it already. Along with the story improvements, we're also preparing richer in-game cinematics. Thank you. That's always nice. Since the First Descendant received a lot of attention for its amazing cinematics, please also look forward to immersive in-game story cinematics that we hope to deliver. What about the empty fields? This is also a hot topic, to be honest. It combines both technical constraints and genre traits. Combining the open world, shooter, and online game genres was one of the hardest things the dev team had to do to create the First Descendant. With the ability to shoot from distances of 100 meters and up to 150 meters, shooters are a genre distinguished by an extremely broad engagement range. It was a great challenge to accommodate a large number of players while maintaining synchronization between the monster AI and gamers inside this range. Furthermore, it was challenging to define the players' paths of entry due to the open fields. Furthermore, the genre prioritizes the sensation of shooting over all other considerations. The character needs to react quickly to hits and fire right away when the player pulls the trigger. So in our defense of fields looking empty, we have so far avoided having a lot of moving AI in the open field for the sake of online play and shooting, but we are solving this problem because the fields in the previous crossplay open beta test received a lot of feedback. Thus, we significantly made changes to the fields in order to minimize the area where battle occurs, and we have divided the fields into smaller sections and incorporated a variety of non-mission content in between. These include out-of-combat content and enemies that defend their bases regardless of missions. That's cool. So we're going to have like, I guess what is that? Like roaming NPCs or something, or like not necessarily static NPCs, but you're just going to come across like maybe like a field boss or something. That would be kind of interesting. We're making adjustments so that it will be more likely to run into other players who are on the same mission. Yes, thank you. And dungeons now have matchmaking for smooth co-op play. It will also be possible to bring other players into your current mission through the request for help feature. So there's going to be more multiplayer support than before. About the modules. Well, first off, we believe the outcome was as good as we could have hoped for because the videos of content creators who participated in the crossplay open beta test showed that they put a lot of thought into optimizing their builds using the modules. I cannot remember if I got that far or what. I think my stream was like 4.5 hours long, and I know I played the game somewhat after that. I don't remember much about the modules. In large, the modules included ultimate modules and skill modification modules, which have the ability to change the nature of a build. But checking the data revealed that the modules utilization was somewhat skewed. It's possible that the short test period left little time to experiment and integrate the capabilities of various modules. But given that the development team's goal is to enable a range of build settings, the outcome was disheartening. In order to guarantee that every descendant will have a unique module setting at launch, and that the same descendant may have multiple module settings depending on their playstyle or main skill, we're making a number of changes. We think looter shooters are basically games where you assemble your own build and realize your power fantasy. Yes, thank you. That is exactly, dude, as someone who has put a lot of hours in Destiny 2, you hit the nail on the head right there. Get your build, take your character, and say Destiny 2, it's a Warlock, a Titan, and a Hunter. There's 1,000 people that are playing a Hunter. Well, more than that. There's thousands of people that are playing Hunters, Warlocks, and Titans. But yours is unique to yourself because maybe you're building your character similar to the recommended meta. You got those build guides that you're following on YouTube, but you just really like this one gun, and this one gun maybe works better with this other piece of gear. I mean, that's what it's all about. And I completely love that they put that right there. The only difference, getting back to the dev note here, the only difference is that we also use guns for shooting. How you assemble the modules to create your build, is important for that process. And we've received a lot of data from the 2 tests we've run, which are giving us answers on how we can improve the areas that are lacking. So we're confident that the game will be much better next time. Okay, how a character is created. When we create a character, we normally start by thinking about the position the character will take. At the same time, we think about what the edge of this character is while planning the character's background, appearance concept, and their skill set, and work on creating that edge as we draw and model the character. Communication is crucial during the process because it involves several teams. During the early concept phase for Bunny, yeah, buddy, we wanted to create a character that could run around and wipe out enemies without firing a shot. I don't know if I did that. I'm going to have to try that now. Yes, I'm going to make that a priority. Somebody remember this for me because I might forget. When the game comes out, I want to run around and wipe out enemies without firing a single shot. So naturally, the art team came up with the rabbit concept. It was a case where the character's edge was summarized very well in a single line. After the characterization is completed, it is followed by a process of iterative testing where we check that the character's skills work as intended and make any necessary adjustments. It's especially important to make sure that the character is easy to control with a gamepad. As you can see, it takes time and cooperation between various teams to create a single player. So there are cases where we discover potential in a character during development that we didn't realize in the initial planning stage and have to revise our plans. Because of this, it's really thrilling when we finalize a new character and use them in the field for the first time. We also put a lot of work on the character appearances because the First Descendant is a character collection game. We took note of what players found appealing about the characters, particularly from the crossplay open beta test, and improved their shortcomings and amplified their strengths to make them more appealing. We worked very hard to display the backside of the characters in No! You didn't just say that! Ah! Oh my God, we worked... Guys. I got to bring the microphone closer. Guys, they worked very hard to display the backside of the characters in greater detail during the crossplay open beta test because the game is a TPS, third-person shooter. I love that. Yes. Give me that backside. Okay, I'm getting too excited here. Okay, about the in-game content. We believe that the Intercept Void Battle was a component of the in-game material you encountered. The Intercept Void Battles itself are compelling in-game content, in our opinion, especially when the hard setting steadily increases the amount of cooperation, strategizing, and mechanic breaking required. For the launch, we created more in-game content in addition to Intercept Void Battles. The fields will now have hard difficulty. Better loot will be available on a higher tier difficulty when the main story in all 8 fields has been completed. All dungeons will have a system that supports matchmaking. Dungeons on hard difficulty also have a system where you can choose penalty options to challenge yourself to an even harder environment. I don't remember dungeons. I don't even know if I got that far. I'm a slow player sometimes, okay? I'm just going to say that right now. The dev team intends to offer a variety of in-game content that suits the player's preferences and farming locations. There are Intercept Void Battles on hard difficulty that require party play, but there will be dungeons that can be enjoyed solo too. Yeah, thank you. A lot of times my friends can't get on every single weekend, so there's a lot of times that I end up having to go it solo. Let's see. We are also working on various quality of life improvements to make it easier to replay various contents. Implementing matchmaking in dungeons is one of them. On the other hand, we're also providing the private mode for players who don't want to be matched with strangers in Intercept Void Battles and dungeons. You know, sometimes that can be nice. I think it also depends on the game and it depends on the level of toxicity within the community. There are some games that just immediately hit the floor running and they're just rife with toxic players. And then there are other games where they start off and they have a very supportive and shouldering community. And I'm really hoping that this is going to be the latter. Since we are a live service game with constant updates, we think the in-game contents will also need to be constantly updated. Regardless of how enjoyable the Intercept Void battles are, players may grow accustomed to them in as little as 3 months. And after 6 or 12 months, they may lose their novelty. And you know, this all comes down to, I'm going to say it, it all comes down to quests and loot. You know, one of the things that sustains me whenever, you know, I feel like I'm running out of things to do in Destiny 2 is whenever there's a seasonal activity or a new season drops and we get like a surprise dungeon or we get a surprise bit of, I don't know, an exotic mission or something that we have to run. You know, these things that you can grind for give me like a purpose to log back in. And I think that, you know, loot is definitely a good thing to grind for, at least for me anyway. I can't speak about that to everybody else. Because of this, we're also making plans for how we'll provide new in-game material through updates when it's required. Since it's a live game, I think the in-game content should also continue to change. And I agree with that. Static in-game is never a good thing for a live service game. About consoles, we're putting a lot of effort into improving the first. I saw a lot. Look, guys, I saw a ton. I saw an absolute ton of PlayStation players and Xbox players in my game whenever I was playing the open beta test. I mean, there was a lot of console players. I think I saw more console users than I did actual PC users or Steam users. So, yeah, they definitely need to address consoles if that's an issue. We're putting a lot of effort into improving the First Descendant's console gameplay. In the crossplay open beta test, we were new to consoles, so features like gamepad controls and optimizations weren't up to par. We intend to fix these issues. I did not play the First Descendant on console. I played it on Steam, so, and I don't, pretty sure I didn't use a game controller. I think I'd used the keyboard and mouse. I'll have to go back and look at my live stream and see what the keys are, but I'm fairly certain that I used keyboard and mouse. It always depends on the game. For shooters, a lot of times I will use a keyboard and mouse simply because of, I don't know, I think I'm just fallen out of favor when it comes to controllers and aiming. Who would have thought? Because I played console for a lot of years. As we announced, we have a 50-50 ratio of console and PC users. Oh my God, that is high. Which is quite a high ratio of console users for an online game. Thus, we're thinking a lot about providing additional care for both PC and console users. Yes, I believe there will be improvement in a number of areas, including stabilization of performance optimization. We also intend to offer other features. And they don't say what that is. Wrapping up, we want to share some of our recent work. We wanted to share some of our recent work in this dev note, as well as a more candid behind-the-scenes look at the First Descendant's development. In the future, we will be releasing more dev notes covering a variety of topics. Please continue to support and provide feedback to the First Descendant, and we'll continue to respond to questions that we can address promptly through our community frequently asked questions. Thank you. So, guys, there's a lot to take in. That was a lot of post right there. So as a longtime Destiny 2 player, I know that there are those that may consider this a possible candidate for the often fantasized, never realized Destiny killer. And while that's yet to be seen, I think that First Descendant has the chops to be a really great game with a lot of player retention. I'm really excited by how much effort is going back into the game after the beta tests, and especially how much the development team is taking note from the players' feedback. I mean, it's always impressive when the fans get listened to. I mean, that is always going to at least impress me. I had thought about doing a review of First Descendant sometime back during the open beta test, but you know, things being what they are, I ended up shelving that idea and never got back to it. But one thing that I noticed happening was that I kept getting lost. If I had kind of a gripe, this would probably be it. I've complained about this sort of thing before, and when I say lost, I'm talking about the new user experience, okay? I've complained about this sort of thing before, especially when it comes to Destiny 2. I feel like sometimes the new player experience can be slightly confusing and extremely convoluted. And I distinctly remember not really understanding, you know, how to unlock the other characters, for example. And to be honest, it was a little frustrating. I didn't want to have to go find a guide or look up some random YouTube video just to get, what is the character? Valby. That was the last character that I was trying to grind for, was Valby. Or any one of the other characters. So I'm really hoping that, you know, at least for me, the game has a little bit more hand-holding, okay? In some places, okay? Not everywhere, just in some places, give me a little bit more hand-holding. Give me a little bit more, you know, some arrows to point me in the right direction. Look, once I learn the map, once I learn where I'm going, once I learn the hallways and the where the doors go and who's who, we're not going to have any problems. But it's that first, you know, those first baby steps that I really felt like there was a lot of stumbling going on. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back into this game when it finally gets a release, and potentially doing some live streams and making some content videos for you guys. In the meantime, let's do that thing where I turn the questions over to you. What's the features and changes that most excite you about this? What are you hoping gets addressed in the official launch? And what has been your experience? Make sure that you put in the comments whether you were a PC player or a console player and what your experiences was like. You know, they talked about making a lot of changes, working on, you know, especially when it comes to consoles. What was it like playing the game on console, and what was it like playing the game on PC? What were some of your gripes? What were some of your concerns? And what were some of the things that you wanted to see addressed that are being addressed? That's a lot to ask, I know, but just humor me, get some conversation going. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe for more game updates and discussions. And while you are at it, consider helping out the channel by buying me a coffee. You can also become a member of the Patreon. Link is in the description down below. Until next time, have an amazing day. Keep being awesome. And I will see you all in the next video.